Today I am talking to Ms. Kristie Ohlinger. Hi,
Hi.
Kristie.
Hi, Ed.
Me and Kristie go back a long, long time.
You do.
And if you are an Epac audience member, you have seen Kristie over the years in a multitude of very different roles. So today you'll get to know a little more about the person that is Kristie Ohlinger. So hello.
Hello.
How are you dealing with this craziness?
Oh, it's so weird. I mean, I'm doing fine because at my heart, I'm an introvert, so I'm totally fine being at home for multiple hours at a time. But it's bizarre. It's
It
just
is.
bizarre.
I'm the same way. I say, people say, "Oh, are you psychologically?" I said, "Well, I'm a self-isolator anyway. I'm a total introvert. I think it's because of my job that I deal with so many people on such a regular basis that my alone time is so precious
Yeah,
to me. And so I'm not really psychologically. I'm kind of fine. I hate to say it,
I
but
know. I almost feel guilty for being fine. I almost feel guilty.
I know I do too. It's like this is what I would do on my downtime anyway. Hang out with the cats. The only thing is I'm watching a lot more TV, but I am anxious. I do realize now I do get anxious. I want to go back to work. There's just a semi amount of time
Yes.
I can watch television.
Yes. I want to get back to work. I do miss that. It's funny. You always want a vacation until the vacation's too long. Now I want to go back to work.
I hear you. I hear you. So anyway, why don't we talk about, most people know you from the EPAC stage, but there's a whole other lot of people that know you from being a teacher.
Yeah.
So talk to me about being a teacher and now with everything that's going on in the school system and not going back to work for the whole of this year. What's that like for you?
Oh, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. I teach middle school, which is it's an acquired taste. I
Hmm.
equate it to the liverwurst. You either love liverwurst, as I do,
I love
or
that.
I do too, or you hate it. So I love my middle schoolers as much as they drive me nuts at times. It's funny though, we were doing some non-mandatory lessons for the last 3-4 weeks online. And strangely enough, the middle school kids did not want to do the non-mandatory lessons. Big surprise.
Really?
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
But this week we went live where they have to do the lessons to pass the grade. So I've been
Right.
much busier this week than I've been in the past. But it's so weird to have digital conversations with kids and not my sarcasm and stupid sense of humor does not translate digitally in this world. So it's been rough.
Now you're a music teacher, correct?
Yes, I teach 7th and 8th grade guitar, music tech, intro to theater, general music, and then I teach 5th grade and chorus.
Well, how do you teach music online?
Yeah.
That's a real question.
No, it's a big
I'm not being
struggle.
sorry.
I have 90, no, I have 120 guitar students and they don't have guitars at home. So
Do you like play for them and say like do a little sound of music like?
right now I have them doing some listening examples and like deconstructing pieces of music and like technique. But at some point I'm really like, um, get some cardboard and draw me a guitar neck and put your fingers here for the chord. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a challenge.
That you do choir too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You do
That's
choir, like
yeah. Well, the software we have is called Schoology, and most states use this platform, so the kids can actually sing. There's
okay,
microphone platforms, so they can sing phrases back and forth, and I can listen and type in notes to adjust, or I could sing it back to them how they should do it. But
right?
I mean, there's no chorus concert anymore. There's all that's gone.
No,
Yeah.
I know, and
So
everybody's talking now about like um the school shows and plays now. It was just the spring musicals that were now a question, and now it's the fall plays.
yep. Oh yeah.
Right?
They're
Yep,
already talking about the fall.
and
Oh
graduations
yeah.
on, and
Proms. I
yeah,
feel so bad for
I
them.
feel really because I like Ethan and most of our kids are graduating, and
Yeah,
they're gonna miss out this whole year.
yeah,
It's really
All those rites of passages that as an adult, I go, oh, prom, that was so silly. But at the time, it was really important.
you know.
Walking for your graduation was really important, you know?
So most people know you who watch this as the actress of Epac, one of the many actresses of Epac. So tell me a little about you, Kristie, like biographically, like from this area, and when did you get involved in theater? Let's start with the early years, the Ohlinger, the early. What is your maiden name?
It's Roth,
Roth.
Roth.
I'm sure I know that. So let's talk about young Kristie Roth
Okay,
and her life.
Kristie Roth. It sounds weird to even say it to myself now, although it's not strange to my parents. My parents enrolled me in dance class when I was 2.
Okay.
And I will never forget my first recital. I was a marshmallow. I had a little tutu and white little shoes and little black tap shoes and a silver bodice up top. And you know, the teacher comes out for the recital and does the dance in front of the kids. So we all follow, right? And the teacher's escorting everyone off the stage, except I decide to stand there and I just wave at everybody. And then people start to laugh at me, and I think this is the greatest thing ever. So the teacher actually had to physically come and remove me from stage. So that's where it all started. I'm a performance whore.
Oh my God! I haven't told you about my first time on stage. I must
No.
have. For some reason, I mean, the junior high school in my neighborhood, IS 145, was doing South Pacific. I mean, I must have been. My mom was alive, so I was not yet 6. I must have been 5, 4 or 5. And me and one of my best friends, Erwin Wenzel, his mother and my mother dressed us up as, I guess they needed extras. I'm not sure if this
Oh,
was
how cute.
like an entire show or a selection from a show, but they needed extras. For some reason, we were sailors, all like 3 years old, 4 years old of us. And Mrs. Wenzel and my mom put me and Erwin in like little cutoff jeans, little t-shirts, little sailor hats, and they put us on stage. I had no idea what was going on.
Did you
I was
sing
just sitting,
Nothing Like
I
a
had no idea,
Dame?
I didn't know what there. So I'm sitting on stage. My mother was a musical theater nut. So I'm sitting on stage with Erwin Wenzel by these thousands of all these little guys and teenagers are sitting around. And it's the honey bun number you're familiar with. So I'm sitting there. There's no rehearsal or anything. And this guy comes out in a fright wig and coconuts and starts gyrating and going nuts. I was terrified. I remember being terrified. Like, what the hell is going on?
I can't get a 3-year-old Ed Fernandez with his cut off shorts out of my head now. You're adorable, by the way, in my head. I was the marshmallow, and then I stuck with dance forever. I wasn't very good. This is a PG-13 story. My last dance recital, I was 13, and we had to wear just this one-piece black unitard with like spaghetti straps here, and I had just matured as a woman. And it was a gymnastics routine, and my dad was sat in the audience and just went, oh God, because I guess nothing was being supported. And that was my last year as a dancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
can you tell us about your mother and her zoo?
Yes. She grew up in Reading and always wanted to be on a farm.
Okay.
So when she retired, that's exactly what she did. She had 4 goats. 2 of the goats killed each other. So she's down to 2. She has ducks and chickens. She's trying to convince my dad to get a cow. And my dad said, absolutely not. He put his foot down, no cow, much to her dismay.
So after your dance years,
Yes. Then I became the world's coolest clarinet player.
Okay.
And I mean that very sarcastically. But yeah, I was a total band nerd, band geek. I was going to be a famous clarinet player. That was my dream before I got into teaching.
Okay.
So that was it. I wasn't going to be a singer. I wasn't going to teach chorus. I was going to be
at
a
this
clarinet
point,
player.
you danced, you played clarinet. Did you even think about acting? Was that even in your?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did high school theater. But that was just like, I thought of that as something that was just fun. That was over here as a hobby. It wasn't something that I had connected artistically to until I got to Epac.
Right.
Yeah, then I got hooked on the art of it all.
So then tell me how you got to Epac and how that blossomed for you.
I was in a teacher union variety show, and I was paired up with a high school teacher that I didn't know, and his name was Carl Baumberger, the dreamy Carl Baumberger. And he was telling me about Epac, and he's good friends with Andy Larker, who was telling me about Epac. And then Dave Deerwechter got in on it. And then I was auditioning for Epac. So that's it. Those three guys were the ones who said, you should try this. It was 19 years ago. I was 25 when I first auditioned. I remember what I wore. It was at the Eicher. I was nervous as hell. I was shaking.
So I've known you for 20 years.
Close to it, yeah.
Wow.
19 and a half.
Years.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so your first show, I remember this very well, was Lend Me a Tenor.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that's where I took my dress off, and I heard my dad in the audience go, "Oh, geez." He denied it.
What?
Yeah, he denied it. He's
Really?
like, "Oh, I didn't say anything in the audience." I was like, "Dad, I heard you exclaim when I took my dress off."
And then how long before you worked on a production of mine?
The very next year, we did Chicago.
Oh,
and that's
and
where
you
I
were
did
a
it. Ed,
dancer?
yep, that's where I was.
You were a dancer in that.
Uh-huh. And then Cabaret.
And then Cabaret, and you were a dancer in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then was that Next Year Sweet Charity? That was your
Yep.
big break. That 42nd Street sort of, it really was that, because Andy Joe was supposed to be, Andy Joe Hill was supposed to be Charity Hope Valentine. And you were just ensemble, right?
I was cast as whatever Lakeisha was cast as. So one of the friends.
You were cast as one of the cohort. You were cast in the
which I was thrilled.
Yeah, you were in the cheater role, the original cheater role. I think it was cheater. Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, oh my God, I have a part. I have to say lines, and I have a song. I was so excited.
Andy Joe had to back out.
Yeah, I remember you were on the phone with other girls going, "I need you here at this audition. I need you here." And I was like, "I'm here."
And then did you go to an audition? And then
oh yeah. You had called me up and you're like, "Look, here's what I'm looking for. Can you?" Well, it was great. Can you incorporate that into what you had read? Because I had read for Charity.
Right.
And then I got one of the friends, which was great. And then you emailed me or called me and said, "Here's what I'm looking for."
I think I remember that email. Yeah. I remember that email. Wow. And then it was off to the races, huh?
Oh, and then I was like, "Oh, we're at the big times now." Okay.
That was a fun show.
It was a fun show.
It was a good show. It's a really good show.
I mean,
it had its problems, but it turned out to be a really fun show. I really liked that show. So, do you know how many shows you've done?
Mm-mm. I don't.
Never counted?
No, I'm guessing like 25, 30 maybe, because I know some years I did 2.
Okay.
You know, when the season became like a full year.
Yeah, because you started when it was just summer, and then yeah. And wow. So you don't work anywhere else, do you? I don't think you've ever worked anywhere else.
Nah.
Is that convenience or So what give me 2 examples of your favorite roles and why, and 2 examples of the roles you didn't particularly care for that much and why. And I was putting you on the spot.
The like ones I like for different reasons. So like artistically, Blanche in Streetcar.
Oh
yeah. But I really like doing Hand to God. I could have run that show. I could have gone on tour with that show and run it for a year. It was just so easy. Like it was short and it was fast and it was really like, that was a fun show to be in. But oh my God, there's so many that were fun. Like Roxy, Chicago, that cast was amazing. Sunday in the Park with George, I think I had 2 lines, but I loved that show. Shows I didn't like, okay, I'll say it. There's a second version of Annie. It's called Annie Warbucks. I put that in the newspaper when Jane asked what your least favorite role was. I'm just going to go with that one. I'm going to stick with that because I'm out there now. I'm out there.
It's so bizarre.
It's such a bizarre show, and it's the exact same show as the first one, but yet it's not. It's
like you're an evil daughter or something.
Yeah, but then I come out in this, and I
Were you
came out.
Sharon Gallagher's daughter?
Yeah, I was Sharona's daughter, which Sharona's like 2 years older than me.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, that was, and it's not a reflection on Kevin. It's just such a
No,
flawed
it's not.
script.
I mean, Kevin tried. I mean,
What?
the book stops here. I programmed that show.
Why does that show even exist?
I don't know. I programmed it thinking, okay, we'll do this for Christmas. And wow, Kevin did his valiant best.
He did.
Go out of it.
There's always a show that I liked for some reason. Maybe it might not be the character.
Yeah.
But there's always a show I like for some reason. I mean, even some of the clunkers, I was like, great cast. Fun people. You know, I don't know. Here's what I wouldn't want to relive. I would not want to relive that one day I took over the lead as the women. I was never so more nauseous. Like, one of my first panic attacks, like standing on stage going, oh my God, what am I doing here? I'm going to vomit.
You weren't even in that show, were you?
I was Crystal. I was the bathtub chick. And then you had Elizabeth Checchia came in, took that part, and then I took over for the lead.
That's right. You were Crystal Allen.
Yeah.
You were the Joan Crawford role.
Yeah.
And then Anita had to go to the hospital with
Yeah,
an
she had
emergency.
a total
So
emergency.
You had to take over the Norma Shearer role with script in hand.
I was
And then Liz
nauseous.
Checchia came in and was Liz in the show at all?
Liz was my understudy because I had a conflict one of those days.
Oh, so she wasn't such a nerve-wracking experience for her.
No, for her.
That was a great performance, though. I will say
thank
that
you.
was a great performance. I just remember there certain roles that I remember in my head and I relive moments. And the King Lear is one. I think there's three. There's King Lear. I relive moments. I actually love the scene between you and me. Our first scene when you tell me, when you throw me out of your house. Love that scene.
I can still recite most of that.
Tell the story about how
All right.
I remember a lot.
This is when I'm coming to visit Regan or Reagan. I don't know how to remember to pronounce her name. And I'm sitting in her house and she's kicking you out. And I'm just sitting there like this. Like I got the toot on. And you get in my face and you're like, this is all your fault. Da, da, da. And you push me. And I topple over like backwards. Topple right onto the ground. You were so in the moment.
I hated you so much in that.
You did.
I hate you as such a bitch. I'm sorry. You were such a total bitch. I wanted to kill you. I wanted to kill you as Lear.
And you didn't push me that hard, but it was just sort of like, it wasn't even that forceful like this, but you just put your hands on me kind of doing bees. And I was like, literally, what is that, tea kettle over or whatever? But my feet were up.
That show I love, and I love, I can never do it again because I'm just aged out of it completely, was Fate of a Jewel, George. It's one of my favorite roles of all time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can never do it again. I could do Lear until I die. That's great.
Sure.
That's the thing about Lear. But I can't do George again. I'm totally aged out for that. But boy, I love that with him. I love doing that with Susan and Andy Kindig. Oh, wonderful.
Yes, I remember watching that feeling drunk leaving.
Yeah, that I love that. And Equus, parts of Equus.
I loved Equus. Yeah.
Parts of Equus.
I loved Equus.
Not so much musicals. They're hard work.
They are.
Would you like better? Do you like musicals or plays better?
It depends on my mood. Like sometimes I think musicals are a little bit easier in the sense that you can hide behind the singing. Like some of the singing does the work for you. Right. But I don't, when I'm doing a play, I don't miss the vocal fatigue and making sure like, oh, do I have my singing voice? You know, do I have to warm up? I have to make sure I don't get a cold. Like, there's a lot more maintenance to doing a musical because of the vocal fatigue, especially teaching. It's hard to do sustained vocal health while I'm teaching. So
Right.
there's something fun about a play, because especially one where you only have one costume, those are the best.
I don't want to where I want to be polite, but Blanche was hard for you.
Yeah.
Emotion Blanche was hard for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think my teeth were chipping, my nails were breaking. Like it was that, and it was my first real straight play. Like, I don't know what you saw in me to choose that for me, but that was emotionally rough. And I've learned how to guard myself from that in future shows. So you kind of leave it at the theater door and kind of relax. But I took her home a lot with me,
Yeah.
and that wasn't good.
But don't you feel that's inevitable when you do a show that deep? Like, I find myself talking like the character.
Oh yeah, especially in my head.
Yeah, I find myself like catching myself. When you do Shakespeare, you really feel it because you start to talk every day in iambic pentameter. You really do. And I start to like, I notice, I start to like phrase, like the character would phrase and have the speech pattern that I've developed for the character in real life. Like it's really hard to leave it in the theater.
Yeah.
Totally.
Not to lighten the subject, but one of my favorite things to do, I have lunch duty every day, or I did before the quarantine. And I would take my script with me and I would recite the lines as I'm just walking through the cafeteria, scolding kids for doing something stupid. And the kids would freak out because like this teacher is talking to herself. But then I found myself, especially with King Lear, because that was a bitch to memorize.
Yeah.
I'm walking through the halls like this, and I'm talking like that, and I'm reciting Goneril in this, underneath my breath. And the kids, they were freaked out. They thought I was going mental.
Most of my directorial wise, some of the best memories are with you and directing shows with you. I mean, just really, how can I put this? Just having a partnership, a creative partnership, which is really important.
I do value that with you.
Or, and I was saying I was talking to Jane, and I said, the hard part of being sort of a community-based theater is that there's a lot of stuff you can't do because you just don't have the cast available to you to do some stuff that you would like to do. But on the plus side, because you've worked with actors going on 30 years, there's this kind of work that goes on that's like really kind of spectacular because it's almost this like in Epac we almost have this like ensemble, like this great ensemble of actors who know each other so well and have worked with each other so much. There's this communication and there's this comfortability and fearlessness because we all know each other so well that we're not all those sort of barriers one would put up around people they don't know well or just not there. So they're able to really, really jump in and immerse themselves in work without any emotional handicap or barriers. So, and the communication, we all know each other so well, we can direct without saying anything, because you'll know what I want, you'll know what I say. So, that's the plus side of it, because we really have a good ensemble,
A lot of the core Epac people are always wanting to make sure that we continually put out the correct product.
Right.
That's
right.
when I say I'm a snob with theater and I don't go other places, is because I'm going to sound sappy, but with your guidance, we are at a place where we can create and try, and it's not always going to be the right choice, but we're going to support each other. I mean, there's so many supportive people in the theater on stage and off stage too.
Yeah.
And I've always said it, when you sign on for an Ed show, you're going to do a certain amount of work, and there will be some side bitching. Oh my God, we're going to run that again. Seriously. But you always know that the end product is going to be something you're going to be damn proud to be part of.
Right. Thank you. When we've also done work together, how many shows have we actually done? We did just The Man Who Came to Dinner.
Yeah.
Together.
Lear.
Of course, Lear. Did we
and then
two?
What?
Is that the only two that we've been on stage together?
No, we did producers. I was an old lady in the producer.
You were a usherette.
I was. And then we did
everybody was in that show.
Yeah. And then I was Kitty to your Not your Irma Vep.
Oh God, Lady in Question.
Lady in Question.
Lady in Question, yes. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So personally holding up okay. Everything.
Yeah. You?
Yeah. Just concerns everybody else has.
Okay.
I you know, hope we can get back to normal, or at least a new normal that works for all of us after this is over.
I know. The only thing I'm hopeful for is maybe we shake hands and high five less. Let's just stop that now. Let's just all agree that we'll stop the spread of not only the coronavirus, but flu and cold symptoms from shaking the hands. I don't
Well,
know.
you're a teacher, so you're like have immunities out the wazoo.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And these kids are constantly want to high five you. I'm like, no, sorry.
So one more question. One more question. What have you been watching? I'm going to ask everybody what have you been watching?
All right. I finished Tiger King. All right. I watched it. Okay. I watched it. Carol killed her husband. Okay.
We all know that.
What else have I've been doing a
Carol
lot of.
actually like went on made a speech on Facebook or something about it.
Really?
I don't care what they have to say.
I'm binging again, like the dumb stuff, Parks and Rec, The Office, just background noise, but I'm back to reading more than TV.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be snobby. They're just stupid romance novels that are really bad, but that's what I've been doing.
I've just been reliving my childhood, watching everything I watched as a child. It gives me some sort of comfort.
That's nice.
But if you have a chance on Netflix, I just watched this bizarre show. It's called Freud, and it's that 10-part German series. And with everything else, you've got to watch it in the German with the English subtitles because dubbing just it's hard to do dubbing. And the whole conceit, it's based lightly on biographical fact of Freud, but it's young Sigmund Freud before he became famous, when he was just experimenting with hypnosis and everything and all that. And he gets involved in serial killings and terrorist plots to overthrow the Austrian government and multiple personalities and a cult. It's the weirdest. Well, anyway, it was great talking to you.
It's good talking
I'm
to you
sure
too.
we're going to be edited down.
No, this is all golden. This was all good stuff.
All right, love. You take care.
All right, you too.
Oh, take care. It's nice seeing you, honey.
Nice seeing you too. Bye.
All right.